Blessings. Oh, it's so good to be with you. I feel like it's been forever. I feel like it's been forever. I missed you. Yeah, so good to have you here. And let's just take a moment to land, to arrive. And for, there can be this sense of stopping. Yeah. Whatever was happening right up to now. And then allowing our awareness to be here in this space. And letting this be a time for you to be filled up. Yeah, to be nourished. And so eliminating any distractions, turning off emails or whatever. I know all the shenanigans I get into when I do online things, behind the scenes. So yeah, whatever you need to do to support your undivided attention and your presence with us today, doing that. And letting the feeling of the body remain an anchor as best as you can throughout our talk. And then, of course, into our meditation practice. In your body, all the way in your body, not just in your head, but all the way in your body, in your hands and your feet. Noticing what the terrain is like, what's the weather like in here? What are you most aware of? Agitated or at ease, or you're feeling confused or super clear, you feel lost or you feel found, or there's something that you're sensing as you turn your awareness towards how it is in here, and just notice what you notice without judgment. No evaluation needed. We don't cause our internal weather systems. We don't need to take them as personally as we often do. Just to be kind is enough, and to notice, and then to sense into your intention what it is that you're most wanting, to receive or feel. Maybe there's something in particular about this particular topic of faith and true faith, real faith, scrappy faith that pulled you in today. But maybe there's something else that's in your heart. You want peace or ease or connection or belonging, or just to pause, just to stop. Yeah, just to learn. There's something just about that that's really nourishing. So go ahead and put it in the chat whenever you're ready. As you let yourself sort of, if your eyes were closed, opening the eyes. And yeah, let's put in the chat, what's your intention and how are you today? Hi, Candace. Good to see you. You're here for stillness. Yes, good. You've come to the right place. There's something really, really sweet about just doing this. You know what I mean? I don't know if I would have said that even 10 years ago, but, as busy as we are, as all over the places we are with our attention, this kind of gathering in and of itself and not doing anything else and just letting ourselves receive something of value is really There's just something nourishing in that. Okay. Good, Ruth. I need to focus on being in my body. Yeah. Lauren. Hi, Lauren. My intention for today is to be open and receive. The energy of the solstice feels lovely. Yeah. Marilyn, feeling a bit charged today. Yeah, my intention is to practice. My intention is to manifest more space for peace and relief from overthinking. John, yes, focus and receive. Great. Okay. And realize as I talk, right? If your mind wanders, yeah, that's like part of the practice is in noticing that. No, it's not anything to judge. It happens. And to realize that just returning back to the talk, right, is a meditation in and of itself, and mindfulness will leave and we might get distracted by something we thought about. And then rather than make that wrong, we can make that known and just let it fold into the practice, right? And even be aware of what pulls you away, what's pulling at awareness, what's pulling attention. What's pulling at attention, because charge is provocative. Anything that has a gravitational pull is to be like seen and noted, not necessarily analyzed. And we get caught there a lot, we think. Anyway, I don't want to digress too much because there's so much good stuff to uncover today. So as usual, our talk will be go till about 10:30ish, and then we'll sit. We end about 5 minutes before 11. I couldn't not start with this poem from David White. I want to write about faith, about the way the moon rises over cold snow, night after night, faithful even as it fades from fullness, slowly becoming that last curving and impossible sliver of light before the final darkness. But I have no faith myself. I refuse it, the smallest entry. Let this then, my small poem, like a new moon, slender and barely open, be the first prayer that opens me to faith. But I have no faith myself. I refuse it, even the smallest entry. It's my favorite line of the whole thing. Who else leaned in when they heard that? Because I can relate so much to that feeling, right? And you probably can too. Let me say hello to you guys. I haven't yet. Hi, Candace. Hi, Harry. Glad you're back. Hi, John. You too. Hey, Lauren. Hey, Marilyn and Mary and Ruth. Yay, yay. So good to have you here. And I think, this I love, right? Because it points to what I want to do first is sort of clear up any misconception about what we're talking about when we talk about real faith or true faith, or like I said in my email, scrappy faith, which I actually really, I love that, because it is kind of scrappy. We've learned to kind of really tidy, right? Like neat kind of static faith in something, belief in something. And what we're talking about here is it's pointing to something else. But let's talk about the common misconception first. It was, it's always, Sharon Salzberg has a great book called, I believe it's Real Faith. I've read the book, I didn't, and so it's influenced me in that way. I didn't do a lot of, I didn't take anything really from that in this talk, for this talk. However, it's a great book to read. And I think she mentions that it was like weird, you know, to talk about faith. People don't really think about mindfulness or Buddhism practice and faith, you know, you know, but actually faith, uh, throughout its history, faith has played an essential role in bringing the Dharma to life, and it's mentioned a lot in teachings. But a common misconception in the modern West is that faith doesn't belong with Buddhism. And, you know, one of the reasons I love the practice and found the practice was because of this. You know, I'm very skeptical about things. And, you know, and it can really be dry. It can make life very dry in some ways, which is why it's really good to be aware of how this can hinder, but also how it can enhance our lives. And for me, I've always had a problem with just believing anything. And I think that that kind of doubt is really useful, right? You shouldn't just believe anything. And obviously, and I think when we've thought about faith, or when I think about faith or religious faith, like the kind of faith I grew up with, it was like a faith. Well, it depends, you know, because I grew up Catholic, and I saw a very real difference in the practice between, like, say, I grew up a lot with my grandparents. It was, you know, as I reflect back on my life, I think about, boy, that was, you know, what a blessing to spend so much time with them and to have their influence in my life when I was growing up. And we went to church every Sunday. I went to confess, like I didn't go to Catholic school, but, you know, I did all the other things. And I saw a very real difference in practice between my Nana and my Papa. My Nana was much more of a believer, you know, it was very much more head-centered for her. My Papa he was a different kind of practitioner. And, you know, his practice of Catholicism didn't feel like just dogmatic kind of belief in something, a faith that separates. But I think that, you know, for me, really turned me off eventually when I, you know, and so, and you know, that's might be why you're here too, or maybe, you know, maybe not, but that's not what I'm talking about here. That kind of faith that separates, a faith that creates a chosen kind of people, a faith that is weaponized. I couldn't help, like, we went to Salem, Massachusetts. We went to Massachusetts over spring break, my family and right, like this kind of faith that has to be proven, and like you're damned if you do, or you're damned if you don't. Like in The Handmaid's Tale, I don't know if you watched that, but there was a couple that had to, you know, it's like either you confess, you admit that you've sinned and that you're wrong, or we're gonna, you know, kill you. Which one do you choose? And that's not what we're talking about here. They chose death because they really were like stuck to their convictions. I don't know if you watched that show. That was as with a lot in that show. There's a lot to digest. So I think it may be more helpful to think of intention rather than faith, if that word is problematic. Real faith, true faith is not, well, the Buddha talked about this in a sutra of Densore. This is a piece of it. He said, O monks, just as a goldsmith tests gold by rubbing, burning, and cutting before buying it, so too you should examine my words before accepting them, and not just out of respect for me. You know, and Buddhism does not encourage faith in any particular belief either. It's not static, it's not a noun. Let's talk about real faith now. Real faith really fuels our motivation. It's just so funny to talk about surrender and let go and motivation together, but actually real faith does fuel our motivation to surrender and just let go. Just let go. Like, Ruth was sharing the intention to, let me go back here. Yeah, I need to focus on being in my body. And what prohibits us from being in our body is often this feeling like, but I have to hold on. I can't just let go. I can't just surrender and let go. But we have to clearly see that living ruled by this fearful nervous system and this delusion that in order to let go, listen to this, we need to know how the future will turn out. That's not working, right? Like, I'll say it again. We need to see clearly that living ruled by a fearful nervous system and the delusion that in order to let go, we need to know how the future will turn out. And think that we do this in like little teeny tiny ways all the time. I can't relax now because I don't know what the state of the world will be. I've never, maybe you can like hear here, like I'm 48. This is like, that level of kind of shakiness and ungroundedness and like, the ripple effect from everything that we've been going through. And, seeing that like we got some time, we got a ways to go. It's never been as high as it's ever in my life as it is right now. And so like we can see any ways we're trying to like borrow safety and security from the future, or like hold out hope for a better tomorrow in some way. Like the little ways we do that, we hold on now with this delusion, thinking that there will be a time when it's going to be okay to let go. And that we have to see the fallacy in that. And when we see that, we can start to do the practice we can start to engage in the practice of real faith, which is such a relief to me because I have no faith myself. I refuse at even the smallest entry. Like if I had to believe in something, I don't know, that doesn't work out so well for me. But practice and confidence in practice, that I can, that I have, and that I can muster, and that I can, I can always practice. And knowing that trying to feel good now by hedging my bets, like by anticipating, by hypothesizing, any like messing with the future at all, it's like that's not working. Intentionally turning the attention towards presence, that's even too conceptual in terms of a practice of faith. And this is sort of like the first piece of the practice of faith. It's being in your body. And be in your body right now. Notice that there is a level of intentionality that requires. I've done the experiment enough so of you to know that it's helpful, it's useful. That there's something wholesome about presence. There's something wholesome about letting go of whatever isn't here now. And coming together and reminding each other of that, and having a practice of like permission to just let go. This is faith. This is real faith, because the tendency, the habit energy, all of our past conditioning has given a gravitational pull to this delusion and all the different expressions of it in our lives and in our culture. So, and we get confused so easily. Like, I think I wake up to this many times a day. And I think that that's, wake up to be in my body just here now. Recognizing that what's feeling real to me in a moment of suffering isn't what's actually happening right here now. It's something that I'm creating, that's being created actually inside of me. I'm not even causing it to happen. It's just certain causes and conditions come together. Like, I'm bored, or you're bored, or fill in the blank. You're an alcoholic. It's like you walk into a bar. There's all these causes and conditions that come together that fuel, right, a gravitational pull of thinking, of like living inside of a life that's not really here now. And it's disconnected from the body. So the body and being in the body, yeah, it's a practice, and it's real faith that will turn us towards that, given that there's a gravitational pull in the other direction. I wanted to mention the faith. Now, the Buddha actually talked about faith a lot. And so did Katagiri Roshi, who was a Zen teacher, a direct descendant of Suzuki Roshi. And he taught in Minnesota. And one of his students, her name is Josho Pat Phelan, wrote this in one of her Dharma talks about faith. In Returning to Silence, Katagiri Roshi has a section on the precepts, and I'm really struck by how much Katagiri Roshi used the term faith in this section. The Sanskrit word that is translated as faith is Shraddha. The meaning of faith in Buddhism, so listen for this, is the conviction that grows through our own direct experience with the teaching, with the practice. It's a conviction, it's a confidence in our own capacity to awaken. To and it's like and we've all tasted it. We wouldn't be here if we hadn't. And so this willingness to continually throw ourselves off the edge of the high cliff, and knowing that will reap fruits, and having confidence in that's real faith. I want to continue with what she had mentioned here. This doesn't mean just hearing the teaching and liking it, or even understanding it. It means knowing how the teaching applies and works in our own lives. In Zen, we tend to use the word faith to mean trust, or the confidence that practice works, that the fundamental nature of our mind is awakened. And because of this, we can throw ourselves fully into practice without expectations. Practice then becomes an endeavor that isn't dependent on what it can do for us. We ourselves have the ability to practice and to awaken. So our trust or faith is not in something outside ourselves, or maybe it means trusting everything, including ourselves and our practice. And that's from Joshu Pat Phelan, Phelan, a teacher in Minnesota for the Minnesota Zen Center. Another way of thinking about it or experiencing it is when we have some sense through tasting our essential okayness. Essential okayness, I like that. You know, there's like and we'll taste it sometimes, sometimes it's accidental, but there's a consciousness about it. Like you might have memories of having this happen when you were a kid, or, you know, maybe later in life, like you weren't meditating, you weren't, you know, whatever, but you just had a moment. Like I remember this moment at a mall. I remember it clearly. I also had a moment like this on the boat to Catalina. Like everything is okay. Like there's an essential okayness that's tasted, and it's so sweet and it's conditionless. It's not happening because like things are going well, so to speak. It's just arising. And that, you know, and it's like, okay, and we can sense that there was a certain level of acceptance that was happening in that moment, of like something with, like there was, and then we can practice this just letting go, just letting go. And again, being in the body is essential to that, recognizing that being in the body is a conscious practice. The last little bit is if we want to talk about we can also say that this is the practice of wise attention, mindful awareness, wise attention, recognizing that whatever we pay attention to proliferates. And so, and we can, when we're conscious of what we're paying attention to, we can redirect awareness. Now, this isn't to exclude experience as much as it is to just recognize, like, when you're stewing in the gutter, it's like, I gotta get out of the gutter. Like, I'm not gonna smell better by continuing to like swim in the sewage and go deeper in it. Like, I actually have to just get out. And you know, wise attention helps us resist the distraction of self-doubt, resist the pull, the gravitational pull of I need to fix the future to rest now, or I need to fix this moment, which is always future oriented, even a little bit. And so, yeah, with that, we'll go ahead and practice some of these things. I hope there was something there that was helpful for you as we talked about faith and what I didn't mean and what I actually mean, and yeah, and that we can really cultivate this confidence in our capacity to wake up. Like, it's really good to remember that. That's why we come together as a Sangha. We have to remember the confidence. That's a conscious letting and a conscious reflection for me. Like, yeah, I have the capacity to awaken. The conditions for awakening are here. And I have the capacity, I really do. So confidence in that. And I welcome us all into that confidence as we get comfortable. I always mention at this juncture that these talks and sits are freely offered, and your donations are very appreciated. I really thank you for your Zells and your PayPals and your Venmos. Yeah, it allows me to keep coming back and prepare for these talks, like take time to do that. So thank you. So make yourself comfortable. And if you're in a chair, right, I'll mention this again, uncross the legs, feet flat on the floor. And unless the back is hurting, your back can be away from the back of the chair. And know that you can also lie down for your posture. You can stand up if you're sleepy. And you can, of course, have a more formal seated posture on the floor. We're leaving the realm of concept, of kind of conceptualization. And, we're dropping it. No need to mull over what I said. No need to doubt what you did or didn't get from what I said. Just sensing what it's like to just let it go. Softening the insides of your hands, your palms. Let your palms soften. And then let the soles of your feet soften. Any holding in your belly, softening, and softening with anything that doesn't let go. Softening your chest and your throat. Acquaint yourself with the natural strength of your spine as if for the first time. The experience of you is not a noun, it is a verb. I'll spend some moments in silence, letting awareness collect and settle into the body. Just feeling your body breathing. We don't need to stay in the body. Instead, it's a practice of softening into your body. Sensing our bodies as refuge. Trusting the mystery of the body's not knowing. It's enough. It's enough just to be here. It starts to feel complicated. Just let go. Real relax into your body. You can have confidence in your capacity to relax anytime you remember. Not good sit, not bad sit. We're just sitting. Nothing to guard and nothing to protect, nothing to manage or figure out. Relaxing back into the body if you get snarled or snagged. We get snarled or snagged by promises of pleasant or unpleasant in the future. Or noticing that we're getting snarled or snagged. Whatever that is, that what's it like to just bring some kindness, some care. Like, oh, this is hard. This is hard. And then just relaxing back to whatever the body of ease is now. It's okay if the mind gets busy trying to figure it all out. Notice the tug of it. And just let go into whatever imperfect peace is now. Even though it seems like nothing is happening, we can trust that on some level, experience is being digested. Beyond the bend in the road, there may be a well, a castle. There may be simply more road. I neither know nor ask. As long as I'm on the road before the bend, I simply look at the road before the bend. Since I can see only the road before the bend, it would do no good to look elsewhere or at what I can't see. Let's just concentrate on where we are. There's beauty enough in being here, not elsewhere. If anyone's there beyond the bend in the road, let them worry about what's beyond the bend in the road. That is the road to them. If we arrive there when we arrive, we'll know. Now we only know that we're not there. Here, there's only the road before the bend. And before the bend, there's the road with no bend at all. We'll bring a hand to our, if you like, you can bring your palm to your chest. If you know the chant, you can offer the metta chant. You can sing it out loud. or just listen to it. We'll chant for I, you, and we. Taking a deep breath in. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be happy. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be happy. Just if your eyes are closed, just blinking them open, letting yourself orient to the space, your space, and then we'll orient to the Sangha, to each other. The poem I read at the end was Beyond the Bend in the Road by Fernando Pessoa. As we go off into the world together, may whatever you received here stay, whatever was of benefit or blessing. And may we remember that we're all practicing together. I find great comfort in that I'm not doing this kind of radical practice alone. Mention in the chat if you like what your takeaway is. And I will see you next week, Tuesday. And please invite a friend. That would be awesome. Just share the link with them. They're welcome to come and see if this is a benefit for them. But yeah, 10 a.m. PT and retreat coming up in September, another day-long insight retreat. The specifics on the content I'm nailing down still, but the dates on that, September, I'm looking at my calendar. My dog pose yoga calendar, it's like so cute. There's dogs doing yoga poses on it. I love it. It's a Saturday, December 17th is the day long. So you might be something you come to. It's a great support for your practice. Let me see. Anyone putting anything in the chat? Great stuff. Thanks so much. Oh, you're welcome, John. Come back next week. Lauren, thank you. Be well, you too. You too. I'm so glad to see you back. So glad to be with you, Harry and John and Lauren and Mary and Ruth. And I'll see you next week. Arrivederci.